My name is Charlotte. I married 4 years ago and had previously been a homemaker. We hoped to have children as soon as we got married. Unfortunately, I was unable to conceive after a while. When I realized it, I was already 30 years old. I was getting impatient as I saw women around me have babies. My friends who had children showed me applications that could calculate my ovulation and offered Chinese herbal medications to help me conceive. I tried everything and nothing worked. After 3 years of trying, I advised that we see infertility therapy, but Mason refused. His reasoning was that it was too much of a hassle. Many people become pregnant without medical intervention, don't they? Simply putting in the effort is insufficient. He was completely ignorant about conception. It wasn't only up to me, his effort was also necessary. I attempted to help him grasp it, but he was uninterested. You are overreacting. Going for treatment is a waste of money. He claimed that the cost of conceiving was not worth it. I fell in love with him because he was nice and compassionate, but I worried whether it was all a delusion. A tiny hitch gradually developed into distrust. Before we married, he wanted 2 children and was willing to share the responsibilities of household and children. I assumed he was also under strain and stress. We were having more discussions over infertility concerns, and maybe I was being overly sensitive. As I reflected, I tried to be more affectionate and caring to him. Love you, and thank you for bringing out the garbage. However, I couldn't help but notice that we were getting increasingly apart. Are you not knocked up yet? You're already 30, right? Isn't it becoming too late? Why can't you become pregnant? A woman comes of age when she bears a child, right? Mason's cruel words stopped me every time. His mother, Harper, was my lone ally. Do not say such nasty things. Don't bother him. She lived close and was a wonderful mother-in-law who brought excellent food to enjoy with us every weekend. She chastised Mason for his offensive statements and actions while constantly defending me. I too was unable to conceive for a long time, and my mother-in-law made jokes about it. It was extremely painful to hear, on top of my own sorrow. My parents had already died, so I trusted her as much as I did my own mother. You can chat to me about anything. I was grateful for her kindness. She lost her spouse early and raised Mason on her own. The comments of a powerful woman were quite reassuring. How can Mason, an insensitive man, be this sweet woman's son? I couldn't help wondering. At that moment, I became pregnant. Our long-awaited first kid after 5 years of marriage. No way, really? Happiness trembled within me as I gripped the test equipment. Congratulations, that's fantastic. I'm extremely delighted for you. Harper was the first person I told about the wonderful news. Harper, I am grateful for all of your support. Nonsense. Don't forget that I'll be there for you whenever you need me. I wanted to surprise Mason and see his face light up. I was looking forward to him returning home that day, but finally, I felt a pang of pain at his flippant response. It's our long-awaited baby. Are you not excited? For what? There's nothing to get excited about. It's so normal. Wow. I anticipated him to be overjoyed, so I couldn't hide my surprise at his unexpected response. A normal couple would have had 2 children by this point. It's just that you were an outlier. Why was he making fun of me instead of others? My slim chance of repairing our relationship through this pregnancy had vanished into thin air. I didn't intend to cry, but tears welled up. I was going to become a mother, so I must be stronger. I promised myself. My pregnancy was challenging, to say the least. My morning sickness was so bad that I was anxious about being able to complete the semester. Not only did I have morning sickness, but I also had to suffer with our periodic sicknesses because I couldn't take over-the-counter medications. Mason didn't care and simply looked at me coldly. Where is my dinner? I apologized for not being able to prepare it. Could you make it yourself? What's going on? You are a housewife, correct? Do your job, but I'm not feeling well. Why don't you just help out? Whatever. I'm going to eat out. He got irritated and left the house. Maybe, just maybe, I had a flaw too. However, his disrespectful conduct toward his sick wife was extremely disturbing. Whose baby did he assume I was carrying? I decided it was best to remain cool and chat when he returned. When he returned 1 hour later, I showed him something. I went for a checkup today. Our baby is growing, you see. I anticipated that an ultrasound scan would help him acknowledge his paternity and begin treating me better, but his reaction was, and he was not even interested. Have a good look at your baby. It's only an image. Can't anything work on him anymore? A sense of resignation was steadily growing inside me. I couldn't get him to be more involved in this pregnancy, so I consulted Harper. She was surprised to learn of the occurrence. She never believed her own son would disrespect his wife. I apologize on his behalf. He is dreadful. Please, you do not need to. I didn't intend to complain, but I needed someone to vent to. Can I come over sometime? If I notice him acting strangely, I would reprimand him. I presume he didn't really understand it. He should come around if I speak to him. Of course, please do. I'd eagerly accepted her suggestion. It was critical for the baby to be delivered to happy parents, so I wanted to repair our relationship. However, my expectations were once again dashed. What are you doing here, mother? Of course, I'm helping Charlotte. Carrying a baby to term is an enormous job. Mason's completeness was not aroused by his own mother. I heard what was going on. You're terrible. You need to mature for your future child. Don't rely on Charlotte too heavily. It appeared that nothing could reach his brain. Why should you preach to me, Mom? Is it truly admirable to give birth to a child? Charla has been using her pregnancy as an excuse to avoid doing housework. She stayed at home and brought no money, but she planned to spend it on infertility treatments. I don't understand it at all. I was startled to learn what he had been thinking. I am not only missing. I've been too unwell to accomplish my everyday tasks. Aren't you a housewife? Maintaining excellent health is also part of your employment responsibilities. Like it was as simple as you say. You know that is not how it works. You're always making excuses. I am done here. I agree. I knew it was bad for the baby, but I couldn't stop myself from raising my voice. He went too far. Calm down. Let's speak it out like adults. Harper tried to interfere, but it wasn't effective. Mason and I started the Cold War from that point on. Harper attempted to mediate between him and me, but her attempts failed. That was all because he refused to speak. He began returning home late and staying out nearly all day on weekends. We were no longer husband and wife. Nonetheless, I truly wanted our marriage for the baby. I was willing to go through anything to bring the baby into this world. I prioritized childbirth and subsequently focused on my personal life. Stress-free, moderate exercise, and a well-balanced diet. Then came the day of delivery. My daughter was born healthy despite the hard labor. It was a truly unforgettable occasion. I wanted to hold my child for the first time. I was overwhelmed with love and gratitude for her. Excellent job, Charlotte. Congratulations. Harper, who had been with me during the birth, was in tears. By the way, Mason, there was no trace of him anywhere. I could not reach him, so I left a message. I'm deeply sorry for his folly. Mason was there. My heart ached because of her sad expression. Was it too much to ask for him to come here and celebrate the birth of our first child? As I was contemplating, my recovery room door was pushed open roughly. Honey, Mason had come. Please take it. He handed me something as soon as he entered. You know, you've been procrastinating on chores, making excuses like morning sickness. What an irresponsible housewife. Don't let the fact that you've given birth cloud your judgment. If you continue to act the same, I will divorce you. I will reconsider if you agree to follow my guidelines. He was waving divorce papers as he peered down at me. Harper was the one who stood up to him. Hello, Mason. Where were you during the delivery? He disregarded her and pressured me for an answer. So what will you do? Will you change for the better? Huh? Your daughter was just born. Don't you have anything more to add? See, you were spiteful. I'm offering you an opportunity to change. I was meant to be released from the hospital the following day, but I couldn't think of raising my kid alongside him. I questioned myself what to do. The response came easily. I don't need a husband with such a low thumb. Okay, I'll think about it. I'll keep the paperwork with me. I grabbed them and put them somewhere secure. These documents were supposed to motivate me to take responsibility for myself. I even thanked Mason for coming up with the idea first. Then he departed without saying anything. Mason's actions caused Harper to weep heavily. Is my son truly such a monster? I'm not really sure how to apologize to you, Charlotte. Do not worry, Harper. But now I'd want to ask you for a favor. I informed her about my strategy, which I had been working on in my thoughts for a while, and begged for her assistance. On the day of my discharge, I left the hospital earlier than expected. I assisted my dear daughter and took a taxi to a location where we will temporarily reside. When we arrived, Harper was already waiting for us. How are you doing, Charlotte? Come in. Thank you. But is this really okay? Of course, it's been empty for a while. I have had it cleaned out so you can move right in. Harper's late parents' house served as our new home. She organized the mover. The next day, Mason mentioned the divorce and had my belongings packed and transported. I was quite grateful to her. So what are you going to do about the divorce? Of course I will. We don't need this nasty man in our life. I agree. You can do it without him. I will back you in whatever you chose, but we'll no longer be related. Are you okay with that? Never mind. I always think of you as my own daughter. There is no difference from now on. Her kindness touched my heart. I always think of you as my own mother. I hope to maintain our new friendship for a long time. We exchanged warm smiles and firm hugs. The three of us will get along nicely. Since then, Harper and I have strengthened our bond. Mason contacted me the night I was discharged. "Hello, where have you gone? This is none of your business. The nurse told me you were already gone when I stopped by. Weren't you meant to be out in the afternoon? And your possessions are all gone from the house. What did you do with the divorce papers? It was a right idea to leave earlier. If we had bumped into each other, my plan wasn't gonna work. Of course, I've signed and left them with my lawyer." "What? Why did you do that? What do you mean? You brought them to me. I just wanted you to change your attitude. Besides, how could we divorce now that we have a child? You are such a fool, what? Who do you think you are? You are the fool who doesn't care about our child and suggests a divorce in the first place. Don't regret it, whatever you say. We are strangers now, but I'll demand proper child support. It is our daughter's right. My lawyer was supposed to contact him for the details later." Mason didn't really think that I was going to divorce him, but I didn't care. Have a nice life. I hang up on him and run to my beloved daughter. I had to be strong for her. I couldn't be intimidated by something like this. Afterward, I sent him my child support request through my lawyer. As for the division of property, I decided to hire Harper's attorney. I was really grateful to have a strong support system. Mason had finally grasped the reality after a call from my lawyer, and he sounded more and more feeble by day over the phone. "Babe, I think I've done terrible things to you. I'm really sorry." "So what?" "So I'm hoping to get back together for the sake of her daughter." "Right. Impossible. I could not just forget and forgive. The calamity on the day of my childbirth was deeply rooted in my brain. It was hideous to know that the guy who looked down on me and made fun of me was now such a wimp." Then he started justifying himself. "I was really happy when you got pregnant, but I was also anxious, so I took it on you. You should have been sweeter and more attentive to me if you thought of me before anyone else." Here he was still blaming me. I was up to the roof. I blurted out all my frustration at him. "How old are you? You sound like you misunderstand a wife as a mother. What an immature baby. You wanted to take him care of. That's exactly what I wanted from you. When I would stress about not getting pregnant and sick during my pregnancy, you never showed a hint of sweetness. You only care about yourself. I'll never forgive you. You must not ever get married. You better end your life alone and lonely. I'm serious. Don't ever get in touch with us. I get chills just hearing your voice." I hang up the phone. Wow, I finally hurled out all the frustrations and resentment. I felt so much better than I expected. "Are you feeling okay?" "Yes, so much lighter." We gave high five to each other. We had become like real mothers and daughters. After that, Mason became a center of gossip at work. People were curious about the divorce right after childbirth, which sounded more like a soap opera. He was too lonely living alone, so he went out binge drinking with his colleagues. Out of his drunkenness, he explained the tiny details of her divorce, which backfired and isolated him from the others. He felt too uncomfortable in the office and suddenly resigned. The fact he told people what exactly happened proved he still wasn't sorry at all. Instead of being sympathized by his colleagues, he was applauded. The child to support was deposited every month, but who knew how long it would continue? "Don't worry, I will let you know if I hear anything odd about him. My relatives and I have been watching him." Harper was the one who told me about his resignation and the reason why. I'm currently living with my daughter and Harper. It's an unusual combination, but a grandmother's love for my daughter. It's a big part of her life. "Do you want to marry again?" "No way. I had enough with marriage." I left awkwardly, holding my daughter. "Do not mention that. Even though you're a single mother, you need to enjoy your own life. You're still young." I never imagined such words from the mother of my ex-husband. Hey, she's smiling. Evelyn is smiling. I bet she's saying, "Hang in there, mommy." Her endless kindness touches my heart and I tear up. Have I ever been this sentimental? I will always do my best to make my daughter happy, and I will be happy myself. I promise to my smiling daughter.